Hey, welcome to my channel. This is Curtis A. Merriweather Jr. In 2020, I was named a game changer by the White House. Before I jump into my topic today, I want to thank you for tuning in, and I want you to smash the subscribe button, share, and like. Okay, let's talk about it. Today, we're going to talk about bid versus no bid, or go, no go proposal decisions. So for those who may not be familiar with that term, bid, no bid, this is a process that a lot of your seasoned government contractors go through when they're trying to make a determining factor of whether to bid an opportunity as a prime or potentially sub. Now we talk about bidding. That's typically the work of a prime contractor. So emerging businesses and mid-tiers and definitely large businesses definitely undergo a bid, no bid decision process. So I want to talk about the 5 C's of bid, no bid, or go, no go as it relates to proposal efforts. So the first one, customer intimacy. Now, customer intimacy speaks to how well does the end customer know our firm? How well do they know us? Do we have any rapport built with the customer who's responsible for the purchase of this good and or service? So number one, the first C is customer intimacy. Do we have an intimate relationship? Have they heard of me before? Are they familiar with the product and services that we provide? And I put these in order that I think are of most importance. Now, you may disagree with the order in which I put these, but this is just my personal ordering, but all 5 are important. So the first one in my list is customer intimacy. We don't want people do business with people they like and they trust. So this speaks to the intimate relationship that hopefully pre-exists the bidding process. Number 2, capability. Can we actually do the work? So number 1 was intimacy. Number 2 is capability. Can we actually do the work that this contract is looking to have done, or provide the products that this contract needs? Can we do the work? Now, if this is an RFP, I did a video, go look at my other video about proposals. I did a video talking about sections L, M, and C. So go look at that video. L were your instructions, M was the evaluation criteria, and C is the scope of work, or what we call a PWS, a performance work statement. Can we actually do the work? Now, in doing the work, is this going to be just a solo effort as a company? We're going to be are we going to be a prime with no subs? Is it going to be a prime subcontractor mix? Is it going to be, are we going to do 51% of the work and then sub out 49? Are we going to do 60 and sub out 40, 70, 30? You get the idea. But do we have the capability, either as one single organization or as a team? Do we have the capability that we need? And while I'm talking about capability, it's important to put together a capability matrix so you can figure out, based on the statement of work, which portion of this work I'm going to do as a prime and which portions of the work are we going to sub out. You need to have a good working understanding of that before you start reaching out to potential teammates. So that's capability. Third is credentials. Now, most people, when I say credentials, they're thinking about social economic status certifications, 8A, woman-owned small business, HubZone, serve disabled, veteran-owned small businesses. That's a part of it. But when I'm talking about credentials, I'm not merely talking about certifications, because I recognize I have some large businesses as well as some small businesses looking for watching this video. With that being said, large business doesn't have the certification bucket to rely on. They have to rely completely on capability. But if you're a small business, it may be a set aside. So do you have the certifications necessary? But that's not the major part of the credentialing. But when people think about credentials, they normally think about certifications. And that's not the core of what I'm talking about. When I'm talking about credentials, I'm talking about the past performance. Do you have the historical record to get this work done? And can it be proven and substantiated, whether that's by a letter from the associated format? And most of your proposals will give you a question. They call it a questionnaire, a past performance questionnaire, a PPQ. So if you do not have a record in CPARS, that's the contractor performance appraisal response system. If you don't have a record in CPARS, you're going to need a PPQ, a past performance questionnaire that's going to be filled out by either A, your contracting officer, or B, the program manager on that contract. Either or will suffice, but typically it'll be the program manager for the contract that fills that out for you. So from a credentialing standpoint, again, we're not talking about certifications, even though that could be in the mix. We're talking here about the past performance record. Do you have the relevant past performance to be a prime? Typically, as a prime contractor, they're expecting you to have some past performance and not rely solely on the past performance of your teammates, although they should have past performance records as well. Now, the past performance doesn't have to be with the agency that is procuring this product or service, but it's helpful if it is, especially if it's good past performance. But the prime needs past performance. You'll normally see this outline in section L&M, talking about what the prime contractor needs to have from a past performance perspective. Typically, it is one contract. That could be a subcontract or a prime contract. Of course, prime contracts are preferable. They show more weight. They show that you are able to actually do the administrative support required to actually service prime. So subcontract performance is better than nothing, but the holy grail is a prime contract of similar size, scope, and complexity as the opportunity you're bidding. Okay, number 4. So we've covered our 3. Number 3 was intimacy, customer intimacy. Number 2 was capability. Number 3 was credentials. And number 4 is contract type. So this is where they're talking single versus multiple award. You may have a preference as an organization. Of course, there's some additional cost associated with multiple award contracts from a administrative perspective long term. So be aware of that. And then is it a firm fixed price versus a cost plus contract? And if it's cost plus, do you have what's necessary from an accounting system in place? Is your accounting system ready to be audited by the federal government? If you have a cost plus contract, you will be audited by the federal government to make sure your accounting system has been properly configured and the proper cost allocations segregated so they can ascertain a proper expense allocation, because you will be reimbursed for expenses, and a pre-negotiated profit incentive will be negotiated. So I don't want to spend a lot of time there, but number 4 is contract type. So we're thinking about a couple of things here. If it's an FFP or firm fixed price contract versus a cost plus contract, and there are a bunch of different variations of firm fixed as well as cost plus. But just to keep this conversation fairly simple, is it a firm fixed price contract, or is it a cost plus contract or one of its variants? And is it a single award versus a multiple award contract? Now, in a previous video, I talked about the difference between single award contracts and multiple award contracts. So go watch that video if those terms are unfamiliar to you. And then last but not least, our 5th is cost. And now I'm talking about proposal cost, as well as, because there's a cost to produce a proposal. Those are indirect as well as direct cost. So a lot of newer companies will say, well, it didn't cost me anything because we wrote the proposal ourselves. Well, if you're writing a proposal, that means you weren't making money doing something else. Writing a proposal is how do I best say this? Writing a proposal is you doing action today. It's an investment, hoping that you'll get some expected outcome at the end. But just like a proposal and an investment, there are no guarantees. So there's a cost. Can you absorb the cost associated with putting this proposal together? Then number 2, and probably the most obvious, is the potential profitability from this contract action. So will this contract be profitable for us? You have to know your numbers. So definitely make sure you got a strong, robust accounting system in place so you know your numbers and you can properly forecast out what any potential cost or expenses and potential gross. So you want to know your gross revenue, your expenses, and your net profitability are going to be on this contract as it's written. I want to make sure I'm clear that as it's written, we write proposals based on what's written, not based on what we think the government meant. So we respond to the proposal as needed. If we need to make modifications, that will come post-award in the form of an engineering change. But we respond to our proposals as they are written, not as we think the government this is what the government meant, or this is a better solution. We respond based on the written word in the solicitation. So those are the 5. Recap: customer intimacy, capability, credentials, contract type, and then cost. So if you think about and wrestle with those ideas in your bidding process, it'll help you make a go, no go, or bid, no bid decision. Thank you for tuning in, and I look forward to seeing you in another video. Now, one last thing before I go, if you have not subscribed, please smash subscribe, tell your friends, share my videos, give me a like, and definitely leave me a comment, and I'll see you on the next video. Until next time.